with Bo here, and we're talking about the fucking Donald Trump and his take on NAFTA.
Right. So, and educate me, please, because I don't want to know his take at this moment.
Oh, if you've watched any of the debates, every time he gets on there, he has to say something about NAFTA. The motherfucker hates
I don't
NAFTA.
watch the debates.
Oh, Bo.
I can't watch paint dry too long.
They're so fucking awesome. How dare you not watch them?
I don't know. I mean, if they'd include Gary Johnson and candidates from maybe other parties besides the Democratic and Republican Party,
Well,
and we could have a true picture of
that's a
what our
whole nother
candidates
thing because the debates aren't really
might.
debates.
Yeah,
They're sponsored,
they're reality TV.
Hey, that's a good. Hey, I like that. But his take on NAFTA, he thinks it's the worst thing that Bill Clinton ever put into effect ever.
Oh, okay. I mean, I could see that. Although Trump, I think, makes his own hats in China. But, I understand if he wants to be mad about NAFTA. I don't think it did our country any favors.
I think it's a horrible thing. I do.
Yeah.
So
You don't see too many other countries enact those kind of legislative ties to prevent wealth in your own country.
yeah, true enough. So I guess you like Gary Johnson. Is that
Um,
who you're gonna vote for?
I preferred Bernie Sanders, but
You fucking
the Clin- the
communist.
Clintons the Clintons bought him out of the election.
Yeah, they sure did, didn't they?
And so at this point, of the candidates who seem viable, my preference is to Gary Johnson. I don't know if I'm going to vote for him or not, or if I'm going to take the George Carlin way out and not vote at all, so that I can point at everybody else and say, "You guys fucking did this."
You can't do that. You gotta go vote. Can't come on my show and not vote. It's just not gonna happen. Promise everybody here that you're gonna vote. Just do me that.
Yeah, I'll vote so the Electoral College can elect our president for us.
Now they've only gone against the popular vote 3, possibly 4 times, depending on how you look at it. So
Right. I guess it depends on how many hanging chads Florida has.
I think it's gonna be a close one. I mean, unless something diabolic happens that puts somebody over the other person, it's gonna be one of the two. It's gonna be Hillary or it's gonna be Trump. It's just going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. I don't disagree with that at all. And even if one of them somehow screws the pooch, then the other one just wins the election.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think third-party candidates, when they're not really given a platform to get their word out
I don't
on the
think
same
third-party candidates can
equal
win because
footing.
of the Electoral College.
Yeah, that's true too. Although the way it's set up, it should actually allow for the possibility of a third-party candidate, because if the popular vote were to side with them. Speaking of that, any of those Bernie Sanders supporters may want to write that vote in. But if the third party got sided with, the Electoral College should then lean that direction. But I don't know how well lobbyists pay.
It's just not going to happen. It's just, I don't know. Are you going to write in Bernie Sanders? Is that what you're going to do?
No, I'll probably vote Johnson. If all the people who were so hard on for Bernie when he was really cruising along and winning all the elections they were kind of stealing and giving to Hillary, if all those people were going to do it, then it might be a worthwhile endeavor.
I was watching a Joe Rogan's newest comedy show, and he was talking about it was filmed in San Diego, and he was like asking these people about voting, and everybody's like, boo, boo, yeah, and he's like, all you fuckers want to vote for Bernie, or you want to be like, Bernie Sanders is awesome, but he's like, you fuckers won't vote, and then they're like, he's like, you always give me the excuse of voting's not real, man, voting's not real, like, you gotta vote, you gotta have a voice, this is your time to have a voice, whether you agree with it or not, just go do your fucking thing. And that's the other thing. My argument with it doesn't take you hardly any time to go vote. Like, it just doesn't. Go vote, do your thing, and just get it over with. At least
That's true. That would be the civic duty.
You can't bitch. That's what when people bitch about our government, like, did you vote? No. Cool. Then you can't say another word to me. Don't fucking say anything to me. Like, you don't have.
No, have you ever watched the George Carlin skit about it?
I don't know that I have.
I think you should check that out sometime, and then I think we should have another call and readdress this.
Is it going to change my opinion? What is it like? Do you not?
I don't know. I mean, I think he makes some real valid points about how, you know, if you don't agree with what's going on, continuing to be part of the same wheel doesn't change anything.
But I think you can't bitch about it if you're not partaking in it. You know, that's my.
So wait a minute. So if you partake in it, why would you have the right to bitch about it? You partook.
Well, at least you had a say. You had your say in that moment. That, you know, hey, okay, I didn't vote for that person, but I fucking voted. You know, at least I can bitch and whine now about it. If somebody that didn't vote, I don't think they have any right to say, like, bitch about it. Like, you didn't even partake in it. Like, what the fuck? Like, that would be like your mom cooking a fucking roast beef sandwich or a roast for a family dinner, and there's 10 people there, and your brother didn't eat the roast and then complained about it all night about how bad it sucked. Like, how do you even know? You didn't even you didn't even eat it, you know?
Because it was too fucking raw.
Okay, whatever. I'll listen to it, and then we can readdress that.
All right. I just think he has a valid point. Before I listened to him, I always felt the exact same way that you're telling me you feel. And I listened to him, and then I thought about, from that perspective, what he's saying makes a whole lot of sense. You would really have more right to bitch if you didn't engage in the process that you're bitching about.
Okay, well, now you got to explain it to me. I'll go and watch it, I promise, but not tell me why you think that.
No, well, I mean, I can't. I'm just paraphrasing the shit that he says. I can't come anywhere close to George Carlin's genius, so I'm not going to pretend to. But I will say that from a comedian's political standpoint, he's pretty genius, and the shit he says makes a lot of sense, especially with the way America has really moved towards idiocracy. Anybody who's not a fan of that film should definitely check that film out. Because we really, with the potential presidents we have up here, are really moving in that real idiocracy direction, where some frozen GI who's a sergeant and some hooker are one day going to be the smartest people on earth.
Well, it's a great fucking movie, and it's a very scary reality is what it is.
Yeah.
You watch
you have to admit,
see a lot of things. You're like, oh fuck, man, we might be going that way.
Right. That's why I say you have to admit that our culture as a whole at this juncture is skewing that direction.
I agree. I think, though, I really think there's going to be that this cannot continue on the path. We cannot continue on the path that we're going. I think that. And it may not happen. It may happen when I get to in my 80s, but there's going to be a massive uprising. The fall of Rome. It's brewing right now. It's definitely I guess it's past its brewing point. It's on the rise. It's going to happen. And that's why you have the government pushing for gun control, and that's why you see FEMA camps the way they are. It's not a conspiracy anymore. It's the fucking God's honest truth,
Right. Right. Well, and another weird thing about this election, which I think Hillary Clinton is going to win. So I'll just go ahead and throw that softball pitch out there for you to hit out the park.
I agree. But I think she's going to win too.
Yeah. So if we take it from that perspective, you look. So our presidents were Bush, Clinton, Clinton, Bush, Bush, Obama, Obama, Clinton. I mean, the same few families have been controlling our country like we're a kingdom and it's an aristocracy.
I think the whole being a president is a dumb office. I think it's who the fuck is a president? You're a president when there's 50 people.
Hmm.
You don't need a president of fucking 300 million people. There
If we
needs to
have more
be
like the English system,
they
like a
do.
prime
There
minister
needs
and
to
a
be
parliament.
there needs to be I think the Congress probably needs to be given more power, and we just need to do away with the executive branch altogether.
Well, at the very least, I think we need to do away with the president's ability to issue executive orders that then supersede Congress. You know what I
I
mean?
agree with that.
I think that's far too much power to leave in the hands of one single person.
I'll cite him again, but Joe in his new comedy talked about that. Like, he's like, you can, if there's 50 people, you can find the best person of the 50. But how the fuck are you gonna find the best person out of 300 million? Like, this is it's not gonna fucking happen.
Right. Well, and in all honesty, when there's that sheer mass number, I mean, the best people probably aren't even anywhere close to trying to run for those offices.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And if you look at political office for the most part, other than at the grassroots level, it's really run by people of means, by folks who are lawyers or who are partnered in through some version of something, and it's kind of incestuous.
Yep. All right, so we both can agree that Hillary's probably going to win. Like, she's probably
Right.
I think she's going to. So what happens after she wins?
That's a good question. I think one thing that is sort of dependent on her true stance in relation to gun control. I mean, are they really going to try to send the United Nations around to collect people's weapons?
Now, she talked about in the debates that she doesn't really want to do that. Now,
Right.
saying one thing, I'm going to say this, and this will be the first time
She
I'm
also
saying
didn't know anything about Benghazi, right? Like ahead of time. Like,
Fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch. This will be the first time I'm saying this on my show. Like, I am genuinely gonna miss. Now, whether you like him or not, I'm gonna miss fucking Obama. I'm gonna miss him. He's a fucking hilarious guy. Like, I think.
well, not only that, let's look at his presidency, and let's look at how Congress bastardized it. And I'm not a big Obama supporter or defender or anything like
I did
that.
not vote for. I voted for him the first time. I did not vote for him.
I voted same here. First election, had a lot of hope, voted for him. Second election, not so much. But Congress really continuously undercut him, refused to do any kind of bipartisan work. And because of that, all those bastards should be kicked out of office, and we should elect new people into all those positions. No incumbent should win any spots in this election, in my opinion. Because all they've shown is an inability to show any kind of flexibility. They won't work together. It's take a strong stance on the right wing or the left wing and fuck everybody else because I'm getting mine and I don't really care about the American people because I have mine. And they've just showed that to be true throughout 8 years.
I think the only way to fix things and to keep our current system is to do exactly what you just said, and that is, you don't take me wrong or get any kind of wild ideas that I want this to happen, but literally the only way to change that shit is you would almost have to kill every single one of them. You would have to nobody's gonna sit down and make a law saying that everybody that has held office it can't run anymore. So the only way for that really to happen is for all of them to die and then to start over. And that's what that goes back to the whole there's going to be a revolution, there's going to be some kind of civil war or something,
Sure. Yeah. So I feel like we could pass something like we did with the president, and we could make all those offices work the same way that office works. But in the meantime, you talk about rocking the vote, as MTV used to say when I was a young man. And, if people really want to make a difference, vote out Congress, vote out the House, put new people into those places. No Senate, no House incumbents. Put all new people into Congress. That's where change can occur.
Yep. And that's, the Electoral College has nothing to do with electing your congressman and your House of Reps. Like they don't have any,
Right.
no say. That is a popular vote. You know, so if that's what you want to do, then that's where you really need to go and vote at.
Yeah. So then that's where real change can occur.
The problem with that is we go back to what you said earlier about people of means. Like people that get elected they usually have the biggest fucking checkbook around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look, in all honesty, most election isn't platform; it's name recognition.
Yep. And how do you get your name recognized nowadays? You got to spend money.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I think we just need to start a GoFundMe account for you right now, and we'll get you on the next ballot.
I don't think so. Don't nobody fucking do that. I want nothing to do with the running for office. Nobody. I don't want that shit. I've got too many skeletons in my closet.
Oh man, if Bill Clinton could be president and maybe first man,
I just thought about that. Like I know some, but I don't want. You know what? That's the other thing. Like I don't bitch about the president in the session that in the saying that I could do a better job because I don't want that any kind of. I don't think I could. I don't want that kind of pressure.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. That's a hard fucking job.
It is. I totally agree. I mean, if you look at pictures of the presidents when they go into office versus when they leave, they look like they aged 20 years. They really do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Well, first, I think one of the main things our new president, Hillary, should look to do is pull us out of all these international scandals and events and these colonizations we have going on all over the world.
Well, that's not going to
secure our borders. Oh, I know it's not going to happen. I know it is. But, I mean, that's what we really need in order to strengthen our country. You know, we got starving children, homeless people, you know, impoverished people, people that can't afford Obamacare because it was bastardized. We need a single-payer system if we're really going to have, you know, federal health care.
Speaking of Obamacare, like you've seen all those things, all those people. Do you have you don't have Obamacare, right? You have your own insurance. So
yeah.
Everybody's premiums just like quadrupled here. Did you?
Yeah, 22% jump or something.
Yeah, that's fucking horrible. You know. How is fucking Joe Schmo working at Walmart going to pay his premium now? Like that's not going to happen.
Well, I tried to help a guy. He's a single guy who has a minimal retirement through Social Security. I think he gets like $1,045 from Social Security, and then he works part-time at Home Depot. And I tried to help him sign up for Obamacare, and this was before these hikes. This was about a year and a half ago, and he was supposed to pay $635 a month. And then he still had like another $350 or $400 deductible. Well, who can afford that?
How much was his premium a month?
$650.
Holy fuck, dude!
For a single dude.
When I used to work for the federal government, I wouldn't have been able to afford that shit. You know?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Now I don't know, and I'll say that at the time that I was in Wyoming. Now I don't know how much state subsidies are supposed to kick in versus just federal subsidies, and Wyoming doesn't really kick in a lot. In fact, I think they were suing and fighting against Obamacare. So I don't know how much that plays a role. I will say that, but I do know that that's a hell of a lot of money, and I don't know anybody who can afford money like that that would need that kind of care.
Not normal. I mean, even if you made $100,000 a year, you know, that's not something. That's not most people that make $100,000 a year have at least somebody they can they have a wife or
yeah, they have dependents. Yeah.
Fuck! Just imagine. So this guy's on a what do you say? $1,045 a month plus.
Right, plus his part-time work from Home Depot.
So I bet he was getting dinged for working. That's what you know what I'm saying. That's what he was getting dinged for. Was that he still? Had
maybe so. Yeah. Well, you know how they set the entitlements up. Don't achieve, or we have to take them away from you.
Yeah. Well,
which is really bizarre because they should ideally be set up to help people achieve and work their way off of them.
Yes, they should be, but no, that's not how it is.
No. because we should just support able-bodied people for the rest of their lives because they choose not to seek an education, and we don't have factories and places that you can readily go to make a decent wage. So all they can get are these menial jobs that as soon as they get them and work full time, you pull part of their benefit, and now it's too expensive for them to live any better than they were. So what's the point of work?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So what about so after the election, if she's probably gonna win, like you said, do you think that she elects a bunch of puts forth a bunch of judges? So there's gonna be some Supreme Court. There's gonna be a couple this time around. There's a couple getting old.
Yeah, there's two or three that are supposed to during this presidency.
I think that affects a lot of things. I think she'll get a lot of shit passed if she puts in the people that she wants.
Yeah, I agree. Although, I like to think that, I know this is idealistic, but I like to think that just because you get appointed by somebody doesn't mean you have to do what they say, that you can have your own kind of moral code, especially when we talk about the Supreme Court.
How fucking dare you say that shit? How fucking dare
I know, it's as bizarre as it sounds. I like to think that there might be some folks of strong moral fiber who potentially would get into that position and not just be, a paid gun, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to happen at all. I think that
I admitted it was idealistic.
It is very idealistic.
Yeah. So, in all likelihood, she'll put people in there who she knows have a stance that she wants to further her own agenda, and then her agenda will be furthered.
Do you think that she'll pass stuff like, what do you call it? She's a big proponent of women's rights, as far as abortion and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think stuff like that will get affected?
I don't know if that'll be more affected with her or if Trump were to somehow, pull off the miracle upset. If he were to actually appoint more conservative people and they would maybe, repeal kind of the abortion laws and things like that, which we've seen through the past doesn't work and endangers women's lives at a higher level than, this legal form of abortion does.
You know what? Like, is your wife right there?
No, she's upstairs.
Oh, what does she think about? So I think I've had one female person on the show. What does she think about abortion? She's had kids.
Yeah, I think she's pro-choice.
Okay. What about her? What does she think about this election? Who does she like?
Nobody.
Nobody. Good for her.
She actually liked Bernie Sanders the best too when he was actually running still. Mostly because he had ideas that might actually make the country better, it seemed like, versus kind of steering the ship the same way it's been steered. Yeah, but he's so radical that it probably wouldn't have happened for him either because Congress would have just, stopped everything. You can't get single payer. You can't get free college education. You can't get those things if Congress isn't going to get on board. And the government makes a shit ton of money off of student loans. They've definitely turned education into a for-profit business.
It's a highly for-profit business.
Yeah, I agree. As a guy who owes $109,000 for a master's degree in social work, who had a first job, I think paid me $38,000 for that nice debt that I had to get a degree in.
And is it now? So you can't get grants because you make so much money? Is that the deal?
At this point now?
Yeah. Is that why you can't get any kind of government grants?
Oh yeah, no, I haven't ever qualified for any aid. So I got my bachelor's degree back in 2001 and went to work right in the field. And at the time, I made $9.85 an hour, and my wife was making $16,000 a year. So I think together, with 18 and 16, my math's terrible, like 42 grand,
Yeah.
32 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even at that low rate, I didn't qualify for any subsidized loans for whatever reason. I guess because we were just two adults and no, I didn't have any dependents or anything like that. So the way aid is set up is just bizarre. I don't understand it. And then when I went to undergrad, even before that, even though I worked part-time and when I was in school and everything, my parents' income counted against me, and they were, not well off, but upper middle class. So I didn't qualify for any kind of unsubsidized aid at that point either, or any subsidized aid. Everything I've always been able to do is just the unsubsidized loans. And so even at my $500 a month student loan payment, my interest continues to compound. So I think one day, if I ever get it paid off, I will have paid them back just around $400,000.
God damn, fuck.
And that's to have attended state universities. Like I didn't go to private colleges or anything. I went to Shepherd College, which is a small liberal arts school in West Virginia. I believe it's in the top 100 liberal arts colleges too. So shout out to Shepherd College. And then I went to University of Maryland, and got my master's in social work, which is again another state school. And for that, I sunk into that kind of debt.